It's like a jet stream. No, honestly, it's so powerful. I could probably knock down Skittles in a bowling alley with how powerful it is. Yes, I'm a doctor who's admitting to pissing herself. Should we just let that sink in for a second? It is a hard thing to admit, isn't it? Just like my poo story, which was very popular. It knew what I was writing, and it was like, yes, whoopee cushion. Okay, autocorrect, whoopee cushion. And I was like, okay, you're obviously like holding your sphincter. Like, no, you're not coming out, sir. Stay in there. I have clothes on still, and I'm not in an appropriate place to take them off. I've pissed myself more times than I'd like to admit, but I'm glad to say I am at a point now where I feel like I can talk to you about it. I've wanted to get there for a while, and I haven't quite been there. It's a difficult place to get to, all right? But today I want to share with you my journey of how... my journey to dry pants or underwear. Underpanties? Whatever you guys call it. I don't know. We call them pants. I'm talking about actual underwear. Today we're talking about how to deal with an overactive bladder. Something I've been living with for a long time. I want to talk about what it feels like to have an overactive bladder, what causes it, and then how I ultimately cured my overactive bladder syndrome, also known as OAB. OB. So welcome back to my podcast, guys. Backseat Positivity. I'm Dawn. I'm a doctor. Yes, I'm a doctor who's admitting to pissing herself. Okay, should we just let that sink in for a second? I don't know if anybody needs to like pause and just take a moment. Anyway, look, I'm still fucking human, aren't I? It is a hard thing to admit, isn't it? Just like my poo story, which was very popular. So let's firstly start talking about what does it feel like, okay? If you are not somebody who has overactive bladder, listen up. If you are someone who has overactive bladder, well, you can revel in the fact that maybe my story sounds a bit like yours. Basically, the way I can describe it is kind of funny because I typed in whoopee cushion onto my Pages document because I have a Mac, so it's like Word but for Macs. And it knew what I was writing. And it was like, yes, whoopee cushion. Okay, autocorrect, whoopee cushion. And I was like, okay, thank you so much for that. So it basically feels like somebody standing on your stomach, or your bladder specifically, either like squeezing it, like really fucking hard. And that is literally what's happening. Your bladder is has a muscle in it. Your bladder is actually like a sac. But it basically has muscles in it, around it. In particular, a muscle called the detrusor muscle, which basically fucking squeezes the shit out of your bladder to make sure it's all emptied, which is fine in most people. And you've got like a normal coordination of relaxing your, like getting into the toilet, relaxing your external, and if you're a female, internal sphincters, or maybe the other way around. Anyway, women have got two. Wait, women have got one, men have got two, sorry. And wait, what did I just say? Women have got one and men have got two, which is why more women struggle with incontinence, because women have only one sphincter to hold the wee in and men have two, and it also has to travel a lot further. So yeah, we've got it bad, all right? Then we have to give birth and fuck up our little lady parts. So it's all going well, really. I haven't had that issue, but I'm waiting for it, okay? I'm just waiting for my next bout of incontinence issues. I actually learnt about incontinence in medical school, obviously, and apparently so many people are struggling with it, but most people don't want to talk about it. Most people are like, no, I don't have incontinence issues. And like even people my age or younger. I mean, I was like in my 20s, young, like teens when I was in medical school. So it's not like, you know, I've had this issue for a long time and I'm only just getting past it. And I am really grateful for that. It's been a long journey, probably over 10 years. But I'm happy to be sharing it with you because I know that it will help someone. If you are struggling with overactive bladder, it is, I would call it a disability, like no fucking doubt, because you're either like toilet mapping, where you're thinking, right, where's the next toilet? I need to, like, if it's really bad, like some people have it really bad where they toilet map. I personally don't have an issue with just urinating anywhere. Like, some people don't like public toilets. Some people won't piss outside. I'm fine with it. So I grew up in the countryside. We just pissed in fields. Like, that was fine. So, and also I'm not like, I can like bend down, I can like squat down, whereas some people might be older and not be able to do that. So, it basically feels like somebody is literally, I don't know if many people know what this thing is. It's called like a pressure bag, and basically we use it in hospital to, you pump it up and it basically fills with air on a like one-way valve, and it puts pressure on a bag of fluids so that it goes quickly into the patient. That's what it feels like to me when my bladder's going off. And I think one of the worst episodes I had of this it's in particularly bad at like festivals, because there's a regular lack of toilets there. You're often drinking, so like you're consuming a lot of fluids, and you're kind of enjoying yourself, so you don't want to like go to the toilet every 5 seconds. And also they're gross, like the toilets are gross, so you're kind of like, well, I don't really want to go. So there's lots of factors. And I think the worst episode I ever had, and I think people think I was being dramatic, but it literally felt like somebody was wringing out my bladder. Like, I can't even imagine somebody who's doing a Chinese burn on your arm. Like, that's what it feels like to my bladder, but like less like burny, but more like fucking squeezy. Like a child is jumping on my bladder. Like, that's it. One day they might be, but yeah, it's bad. And that makes you... now we're going to talk about the vicious cycle of overactive bladder anxiety. Basically, it's often a learned behaviour. I guess we're kind of moving into what causes it now, but it's often a learned behaviour. Basically, you end up getting anxious that you're going to wee yourself, and then the anxiety causes more squeezing of your bladder. Basically, it's a neurological connection. Our bladder should, when you get to somewhere that's appropriate to go to the toilet, your bladder, your external sphincter or whatever you have, your sphincters should relax and your bladder should contract. Now, what happens with overactive bladder is your bladder just starts contracting. But you're obviously like holding your sphincter, like, no, you're not coming out, sir. Stay in there. I have clothes on still, and I'm not in an appropriate place to take them off. So it ends up squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, and it kind of hurts. And it like, not like, like screaming in pain, but it's so uncomfortable. And it's squeezing. And yes, it is like a kind of mental thing. It's a mental game of like, you're making yourself more anxious, so it's squeezing more. But it's also, there is a physical act. Like, your brain is telling your bladder to squeeze. And that's what you need to unlearn. And trust me, it's easier said than done, my friend. I know that. But that's what I'm going to get you to, okay? So there are obviously other physical issues. Do you know what? I can't even think of any. Overactive bladder, physical causes. Urinary tract infection. That took me a long time to come up with that. UTI, basically an infection of your bladder or urinary system. Now, it's important. Obviously, if this is a new thing, it hurts when you wee, you have a fever, you have pain, and you don't usually have overactive bladder problems, it might be worth going to see a doctor just to be like, okay, I don't have a UTI, or I do, and let's treat it. But for me, this has been happening for years. I don't have a UTI. And I will explain to you how I did get diagnosed with it, basically. Actually, let's just go to that now. Basically, I went to my GP and I said to them, I was in medical school because we'd learnt about it, and I was like, oh, it's actually quite common. Like, maybe I shouldn't be, so scared about going to see a doctor about it. And I went to my GP, who referred me to a gynecologist. I think they ruled out like a urine infection and STIs and stuff like that, because that can obviously irritate your bladder and make you need to wee more. But then they referred me to a gynecologist. I had a very interesting gynecologist trip. Now, the issue was, number one, I obviously was training as a medical student at the hospital that I went to my appointment in. And it's obviously quite an intimate area. It's not like, oh yeah, my finger hurts. It's like, no, my fucking vagina is being a problem. No, sorry, my bladder, but it's like that area. You get it? You get me? And so I went to a gynecologist. He was very lovely. I don't remember your name. I'm very sorry. You were very nice. But I always remember that trip because, in particular, the HCA that was chaperoning the exam, and he did do a finger exam. Don't be scared of that, guys. Like, very quick. There was a chaperone there who was a female, so it like wasn't weird. He wasn't just, no, I'm not even going to say that. And I'm not even going to go there. That's where I draw the line. There we go. It's finally happened. So he does do an internal exam. Obviously you can say no, but it's like, well, he needed to medically, so I'm not going to say no. A lot of people say that. I'm like, can I do a bottom exam is what I call it, where I put my finger up your bottom. Do bloody loads of them. They do not bother me whatsoever. Like, literally, I could not care less. I would rather do it because then I know that I've done the appropriate things, right? But a lot of people are like, oh God, I feel so sorry for you having to do that. I'm like, I literally don't care. I will not remember your anus. That's the end of it. So there are a few doctors who have seen my vagina, or my vulva, I should say, or my genitals, my bits. I would say probably it's getting close to like 5 now. Actually, maybe more. 6. Wow, good times. But I'm kind of just like, whatever. They're not allowed to bring it up in front of other people. So they're not like, ha, I saw your vagina. Do you remember that? Like, you came in because you had chlamydia and I did some swabs. Do you remember? I'm like, no, you just pretend like you don't know each other. And that's the best way. I actually had that where one of the GPs that had done an intimate examination on me, I went to her house, but like I went to her house to meet with, her husband was having a party, who's also a doctor, and she was like introducing herself to me, and I was like, okay, cool. I didn't say like, you have examined my vagina, but I was thinking like, oh God. But then I found out one of my friends that was there, who's also a doctor, was like, Mr. X's wife has done a speculum exam on me. And I was like, yeah, me too. High five. But no. So anyway, it was fine. I think it does add a little bit, I don't know, it adds a different nuance to having that kind of examination as a doctor, because it's like, well, I know what to expect. Not always a good thing. But also usually a good thing, but sometimes I know the people that are doing it, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I'm feeling this. Anyway, so I went to a gynecologist 5 minutes later. I went to a gynecologist. He was very lovely. The HCA, very weird. Like, not weird, but she watched me get undressed, and I was like, lady, can you not? I don't know if that would bother me now, but I was like 20. And I was like, and she literally, it was like she was staring into my fucking soul. It was like she could see my internal organs. She was like properly like staring at me. And it was just me and her behind the curtain. Like, why do you need to watch me get undressed, lady? Fucking go outside and come in when I'm ready. Just tell me where to sit. I don't know. Maybe some people think that about me. Like, oh my God, the doctor watched me get undressed. I like actively try not to because I know how weird it is. Anyway, that's kind of scarred me for life. But no, it's fine. I awkwardly then asked her like, oh, do I need to take my pants off too? And she was like, yeah, obviously. And I was like, that was a cue, lady. I wanted you to not watch me. That was like an awkward, like, can you stop checking me out? Anyway, who knew you'd have such issues from the woman who was supposed to be protecting you, the chaperone. Anyway, so the gynecologist got up in there, right, obviously, and often the chaperones, like, they don't always watch like what they're doing, which really maybe they should. But anyway, this lady was fucking tail end, let me tell you. I think maybe she liked me. I don't know. No, I'm joking. But I think, I don't know, there's something weird going on there. Like, why are you watching everything? Why? Anyway, so that was a very weird situation. Thankfully, she didn't call me or anything afterwards and ask me out on a date. But I was like, lady, please. So I went to the gynecologist. He was like, you don't have anything physically wrong with you. I've just thought of another physical problem. I guess you could be pregnant. That is another cause. I think they probably ruled that out. Also, I was on contraception, but I don't know. They probably did the test and I just didn't know. You could have something called fibroids, which is like a big, lumpy, fibrous mass sitting in your uterus, and it basically pushes on your bladder, and that makes you wee more. So I'm thinking of so many reasons now. They're all coming out. It's all great. Anyway, so he did an internal exam, asked me to squeeze his fingers. Bit weird, but I did it. Apparently I had very good sphincter control. And they rate it, I think I was a 4 out of 5 or something, which is normal. I think 5 or something like that is they can't let go of my fingers. And I learned about that later. the weird vagina squeezy score, not the official name. Let's get into, okay, now I didn't even finish the gynecologist story. So he told me, you don't have anything physically wrong with you. Excellent, I said. He said, have you ever been, when you were a child, were you abused? And I was like, correct, sir, I was. And he was like, it's really, really common. Most people who have overactive bladder syndrome have either anxiety or have been abused as children. And I was like, cool, I just got to sort out my childhood trauma. And so that was the end of that. He did refer me he actually referred me to a lady who sorts out that kind of mental stuff. I didn't go because I'm a naughty bitch. But he also referred me to have urodynamics done, I think. Or maybe it was just a bladder scan to see if my bladder was emptying fully. Sorry. And I never got the letter for that. But also I was like, I'm pretty fucking sure it's emptying. It doesn't want to stay in. It's like a jet stream. Honestly, it's so powerful. I could probably knock down Skittles with how, in a bowling alley, with how powerful it is. So I wasn't that bothered. I didn't chase it. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's emptying. I don't have that issue. So let's get on to how I ultimately cured my overactive bladder syndrome. Boop. I think being a female was helpful in the fact that I already had period pads. Now, this is the way that I mentally trained myself. Because when you have a pad in that's going to absorb any leaks that you have, you can kind of relax a bit more. Did I have more accidents? Yes, but I had a pad in, so I was like, well, it's fine. It's like my own little nappy. But obviously you don't have a pad all the time. So I did start wearing them a little bit whilst I was trying to retrain my brain essentially. And that relaxed me because the main anxiety is I'm going to piss my pants. I'm actually going to have wet clothes. And it's going to be embarrassing and everyone's going to see. Whereas if you've got something in there that's just okay, relax. Guys, it's not admitting defeat by putting a pad in there. It's just a way to heal your recovery. So once you put the pad in there, it's just a mental game. Then you're starting to try and use, my main thing is breathing techniques. So I try and relaxation. So when I can feel, because I had it earlier, oh boy, was she squeezing away. And I was like, no, relax. Now, obviously, you don't want to relax so much that you wee yourself, but basically, I am able now to relax my bladder. It's very much a skill, let me tell you. Obviously, if my bladder doesn't get too full. Now, the issue is when my bladder would get to big, not that big, maybe 500, 600, 700, 800 milliliters. I did get up to 1,000 once because at that point they asked me to do a wee diary, so I was measuring it. I got up to 1,100 once. That was when I woke up from nighttime. That's bloody loads. But my usual was like 500 milliliters. Some people are going every 50 mils. So I wasn't, I'm not awful, but it's also not great. My main issue is just that it's like, I'm coming out, and then you don't really have a choice. So yeah, breathing techniques, relaxation. And if you've got the pad there, you can relax more because you're like, okay, if anything happens, it's not the worst thing in the world. It'll absorb. So that's what I recommend using. Just like, you don't, maybe not the incontinence pads as such, but like I just use period ones and they're fine. I even have reusable pads now and they're also fine. Depends how much you're going to leak. That's the issue. You want it to be able to contain enough. I'm usually just like a little bit, but enough that it's like annoying. So probably one of my biggest things though after those, I would say retraining my brain into being like, it's okay, you're not going to wee yourself, it's okay, relax, let's be calm about it, let's try and get to the toilet in a nice calm fashion and not run there and be like hyperventilating. That's not even a joke, like that happened. So I have started, I would say I'm like a person that doesn't love going to the toilet all the time. I find it quite inconvenient, so I would probably go less often than I should. As a result, I would end up then having the issues. So I am now going to the toilet more frequently. If we're going to leave somewhere, I will go for a wee, and it's not like I don't need a wee. It's like, okay, let me just check on my bladder, how full is it? If it's like a 4 or 5, I'm going. If we haven't got a while till the toilet, I'm going to go if it's a 4 or 5 out of 10. If it's like a 0 or a 1, I'll probably, like undetectable, it'd be fine. It also depends how much I've drunk. If I've literally downed a pint and then we're about to leave, I'm like, okay, I will go to the toilet just to, let things. Basically, I don't like the idea of safety wheeze, but kind of happening. Because you don't want to get to the point where you're like going to the toilet every like hour because you are scared. You want it to be like, okay, be sensible. Like I'm gonna be going and I don't know whether the next toilet's gonna be, so I'll go, right? Moving on from downing pints. My next thing, as you can probably see, is drinking. By drinking less, you actually end up potentially getting more urine infections, more irritation, and more like bladder irritation and stimulation. So I drink similar amounts, probably a bit less than I used to, but whatever, not purposefully. But my main thing is I sip it, a mouthful, put it back down. That obviously doesn't go so well at work where I like forget to drink, don't have access to water. Do have access to water, that's a lie, but I'm like doing stuff and not really thinking about it. So I sippy because the issue I had before was I would forget to drink, down a pint of water, and then it would fucking smash my bladder like there's no tomorrow. And it would be like a fucking torrential waterfall, and I wouldn't be able to control it. So sippy, slowly, it's very nice. There are also other things like drinking less caffeine, less bladder stimulating things I've put. You can Google that, I don't need to talk you through them. Caffeine is the main one though. Caffeine in particular stimulates my bladder. I've reduced how much caffeine I'm having, I would say. And I think one of the other things is dealing with it out and about on the, in life. Some people very much toilet map and are very scared to not know where the toilet is. I think dealing with bladder issues out and about is quite hard because I often feel bad when places are like, they might not have a sign or they might not be saying like, no, you can't come in, but some places do, and it makes me feel guilty being like, can I come and use your toilet, or like whatever. I think it's pretty bad faith for a place to say, no, you can't use our toilet. Like, I get it if there's like loads of drunk people coming in, like maybe, or like, people like drunk and throwing up or just making a mess and like not actually contributing to the business, like if you're in a high traffic area or something. But if a small business, or maybe even more often, I use places like Costa, because you can often just slip in and slip out and nobody notices you. I use like coffee shops, Starbucks, Costa, or like McDonald's. They're not the best toilets, but it's a toilet and I don't care. So you have to just not be afraid to go into the toilets in places, like, unless you have an actual fear. But what I mean is, like, there can be quite a lot of apprehension of being like, oh my God, they might say I can't go. Look, if they say it's only for customers, I'll just say either okay if there is other places around, like if I'm in a city centre. But if there's not, I'll be like, I have bladder issues. I might just like go up to them and say, I've never had to say this, no one's ever confronted me about it, but I would say I have bladder issues, I'm not going to make it to a toilet, like please can I use it? And I have had places be like I've said afterwards, like, oh, I didn't really maybe enjoy, I went to a museum basically and there wasn't a toilet in the actual place, and I was just rushing around it because I really needed to go to the toilet. And I said, they were like, oh, did you enjoy it? And I was like, yeah, but like I had to rush around because I really needed the toilet and there wasn't one here. And they were like, there is a toilet here, but it's like not for regular use, but if you really needed it, we would have let you. So I think people are understanding of, if you really need the toilet, like no one's going to be like, no, you fucking bitch, like go and piss yourself. Because I feel like people really only ask in times of desperation. Like, it's not like people are like, oh, I know, I'm going to go and piss McDonald's off and go and wee in their toilet. Like, it's something that we all need, isn't it? And it's like you don't want to be pissing down the side of a street or whatever, which I have done, because either there's like, well, it depends where you are, but either there's like nowhere around or places won't let you in or something like that. Now, if you live in the UK, there is a thing called I can't wait or something like that. Let me just check. Okay, so if you type in can't wait card, I don't know, it might just be like, what is the need to pee card? Oh, so there's a need to pee one as well from the Urology Foundation. You can also get IBS bathroom cards if you have an overactive bowel. I mean, look, personally, I see overactive bowel, overactive bladder, like things where you're literally going to shit or piss yourself. Like, that is a disability. I know it's like something that can be worked on, but in the meantime, it might not be possible. So I've never had to get this card out, but I do have one, and it's called Just Can't Wait Toilet Card. I think it's free. It's literally fucking free. Oh, you can actually get it on your phone now. Oh my God. I've got it as a physical card, and I might get that on my phone because that's really good. Wow. Yeah, I have the physical card. Never used it because no one's ever been like, you can't use our toilet. Either I don't ask if it's a big place, or I do ask, or I just say, where's your toilet? I'm not like, hi, I'm not actually a customer, but can I use your toilet, please? I'm sorry. Either that or I wee myself. So look. Oh, cards are now biodegradable. The physical card is $2.99. It's like a credit card size. But the normal one is the one on your phone is free, like fully free. You do have to order it. I think you have to like fill in a form. In fact, let's have a look. Let's see. What do you have to do? This is really easy to find online as well. So you have to put in your details, like where you live, etc. And then you have to put in your conditions. So you're like, what your condition is. I'm actually going to do it because I would quite like one of those ones on my phone. And you have to order them separately. Do you use any of the following prescription products? That's the first question after you put in your details. No, I don't. Do you suffer from any bladder conditions? Yes. What would you call it? Overactive bladder. It's right at the bottom, but whatever. Bladder incontinence, childbirth, urinary incontinence in children, cystitis, bladder cancer, urinary tract infections, retention. Do you suffer from any bowel conditions? Well, what's on here? Accidental leakage, constipation. Don't know why you'd need the toilet if you've got constipation. No, you can get overflow diarrhea. Diarrhea, IBS, IBD, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, diverticular disease, bowel cancer, bowel obstruction, fecal impaction, fecal incontinence, short bowel syndrome, celiac disease, other. I'm going to put... do you know what? I don't really have this issue anymore. No, I don't have any further concerns. Thank you. I used to have where my bowel would be the same. I have actually done another podcast episode on that. So, but now that I'm on this medication, it basically makes me really constipated. So I don't shit myself. Not that I shat myself before. But you have to agree to terms and conditions. Would I like to have any more information emailed to me? No, absolutely not. Order your card. And just like that, wait there, let's see. How do I download it? That's the question. So maybe I click on Apple Wallet, complete the application form, make sure you have it installed. Well, yeah, but I need you... Oh, it says you have to open up the email. This might be like really fucking boring, but I feel like it's quite good to talk it through. So then you open up the email, which hasn't appeared yet. So yeah, then you open up the email and then just add it to your Apple Wallet. Okay, fine, it's arrived. It's like instant. Nobody has to like check it. Nobody's wants your medical records for it. They just rely on people admitting, I have a bowel or bladder problem. Access your link. Guys, this is honestly outstanding. Yeah, I want to open it in my Apple Wallet. There we go. I'll just cover up the QR code because I don't really know if that matters, but there we go. There it is. And then maybe they scan the QR code. This person needs the toilet urgently. Please help. I wonder if I actually went into a store and said, I've got a just can't wait card, or like I showed them that, whether they would be like, what is that, what have you got, whether they'd be discreet, what do they scan it, like what's the deal. I feel like I would only show it if I was like really fucking desperate and they were being really difficult. I would be like, I do have an issue, but yeah, I mean, it has been diagnosed by a doctor, but you don't have to, like I just said, that was so quick and easy. Like, you don't have to type in anything, you don't have to submit any medical records or anything. Could it be open to abuse? Well, yeah, but I guess we just have to trust humanity a little bit. So there's also a need to pee card. Order a need to pee card. I don't know what that looks like. I have a medical condition, which means I need to use the toilet urgently. Please help me by letting me use your facilities. That's so cute. That's what it says on the need to pee card. It's purple. Anyway, the next thing, and I do have this as well, is a radar key. I don't know if they use them in the US, but it's basically a key that allows you to use disabled toilets. Again, could be used for, like, people could abuse it. Yes. I personally, either I have that key or I will piss on the floor. So what do you want, government? The radar keys, it's just spelled RADAR, radar key. You have to pay for it, I believe, but they're not that much. I think when I got my just can't wait card, I got the radar key along with it. And it's basically, you can access, it's kind of difficult though. I have tried to find disabled toilets before and not been able to find them, or tried to find public toilets, and not been able to find them, or the disabled ones don't have a radar key on it. So it's not foolproof, but it's better than nothing. And basically it looks like it's anywhere, it's like around the £5 mark. So that's not bad at all. There is an app you can get called, which helps you find Great British Public Toilet Map. There you go. I don't think it's an app actually, but yeah, there is. That's pretty good. I wonder if that is an app, because I had an app called Flush and it just wasn't very good, so I just don't use it. But if that actually is true, okay, it's not an app, which is kind of sad because that would be really fucking useful. If you're listening, that would be really useful. Anyway, I think that's it, guys. Thanks so much for listening. It's a little bit like, intimidating sharing your health concerns, your incontinence issues on the internet. But there we go. I did it. Woo! Give me a medal. But yeah, if you guys have any comments or like issues, you might not want to share them on the comments or whatever, but if you have any comments, then please let me know. If you want to email me at contact@diariesofadoctor.com. I do not provide medical advice, but I will chat to you. Then I answer my emails, and if you liked it, please give it a like. Thanks to everyone who does give it a like. That's super nice. Like, thank you. I do see you. I don't know who you are, but I know you're doing it, and that's what counts. And I acknowledge you. I acknowledge. And yeah, I upload every Monday and Thursday, not Tuesday. Monday and Thursday, twice a week, for your bi-weekly dose of positivity. Coming up soon is, I think, face serums. Look, I don't have it like pre-recorded, so this is pre-recorded, but I should be a bit more like, have it ahead of schedule. But anyway, I think face serums. I also want to do one on shroom coffee. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys, and I will speak to you next week. Bye.